Hello! In today's video, we're going to be learning both the chords and the melody for the hit Irish tune, Whiskey in the Jar. Let's go ahead and hear what it sounds like. It should sound something like this, bringing the camera down below. Super fun tune to play. Let's go ahead and dive in. Let's start with the chords and the rhythm that we're going to be using to play it. Now, what's fun about this tune is we never are going to go above the 3rd fret of the ukulele. We're going to stick it all down, which is great because it makes it very beginner friendly with these chords. The first chord we're going to play is a C chord, bringing the camera back down. Looks something like this. Take your ring finger, place it on the 3rd fret of the A string. The next chord, we're going to play an A minor, but this might be a little bit different than you normally play an A minor because we're going to leave this ring finger on the 3rd fret of the A string. And I like to take my index finger and move it over here to the 2nd fret of the G string. The 3rd chord we're going to play here, it's called an F add 9. And what we're going to do is use that index finger, we're going to move it from the G string to the 1st fret of the E string, leaving our ring finger here on the 3rd fret of the A string. Now, if you're playing on a low G ukulele, you're going to notice this lesson's pretty challenging because this is really trying to make use of that open G string throughout the arrangement. So try to grab a high G to follow along. But after I've played this right here with the F add 9, the last chord I'm going to be playing in the tune is a G7. And if I'm transitioning from this chord, you'll notice that's just going to be the ring finger down 1 fret to the 2nd fret of the A string, and the middle finger kicks over to the 2nd fret of the C string. So those are the only 4 chords in the whole song. To go with this though, we need to learn the rhythm, and I love this strum pattern that we're going to be playing. It uses what's called 16th note strumming, which means we're going to be playing pretty fast, and it's also going to utilize something called a ghost note technique. Now this sounds really intimidating, but I promise this is not as difficult as it sounds. All that we're going to do, we're going to hold that C chord, that first chord that we're playing. We're going to practice taking our index finger, strumming it down across the strings. That's our 1. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the hand back up without striking the strings. I'm then going to use my thumb and kind of strike the G. If you hit the C string in there a little bit too, that's okay. I'm basically doing a partial strum with this thumb. And that's the ghost note technique. It's a down strum with the thumb over not all 4 strings, but just kind of the G. And then I'm going to come up with the index. And the count here is going to be 1 and what that is the 16th note. 1 and repeating it, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4. Go ahead and try this with me. Down, go step, down, go step. Just 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and so let's go ahead and try this with the chords. We're going to be giving usually 4 of these per chord, but sometimes we'll give 2, and at the very end we even do just 1. So go ahead and follow along, and it should sound something like this. We're going to start with the C chord. We're going to do that 4 times. And that looks like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. A minor. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. To the F. Now 2 on the C. 2 on the A minor. Let's do that again. C for 4. 3, 4, A minor for 4, the F for 4, and then the C and the A minor. Very good. Now we're going to go to the G7, and then back to the C, and then to the F for the 4 here, and then what we're going to do here is 1 on the C, 1 on the G, 2 on the C. Crazy, right? But it's not actually that difficult. Bring the camera up when you get in practice with it. Right now it might feel like doing this if you've never done it before, right? Playing the strum progression, playing the chords, it's a lot to handle. But just play along with the video and try to get comfortable. Even if you're just strumming through the chords just like this, totally fine, just as you're getting comfortable playing this rhythm with these chords. So that's the strumming pattern. That's the chord progression for Whiskey in the Jar. Let's go ahead and move right along now to the melody. And this is my favorite part to play. As somebody who doesn't sing, I really enjoy playing melodic sequences on the ukulele. And this melody translates really well to high G ukulele. We're going to be playing a very fast melody using lots of open strings. So let's go ahead and dive in. It's going to look something like this. Now, when you see this tab on screen, if you'd like to download a copy of it, it's available over at my Patreon page, link down below. More on that later. But we're going to start here by playing our first melody note, just the open on the C string. And it does not matter which finger you use to play it. We're going to be doing a lot of finger picking, so you can use your index if that's comfortable, or your thumb. And that is what's called a pickup bar. So this starts the song before anything else starts playing. We go into the first full bar here now. We're going to play 3 on the E string. I like to use my ring finger here. And I'm going to use my middle and my thumb. I can also use my index and my thumb on my playing hand. It doesn't matter too much which fingers you use, as long as you get comfortable playing back and forth quickly, because it's going to go E, G, and then A, and then G, and then the E with that finger off. And this is what's really cool about this arrangement. If you listen, that sound right there is what creates this iconic vibe, because it's so quick. It's these 16th notes. And by using the same note on multiple strings with this high G, it works out really, really well. And just so that you can hear it, here's what the next parts sound like as well. Pretty cool, right? So after we've done that first measure, to play the next measure, we're going to play open on the A and 2 on the G. I like to use my middle finger here. And then I'm going to play 2 on the A string with my ring finger, and then open on the E. So that measure is. Now the next measure here, measure 3, I'm going to hold the same thing, still that second fret on the G string. I'm going to play open on the A, 2 on the G, open on the A, 2 on the G, and then 2 on the A with the ring finger. And then I can use the pinky here on 3 of the A, play that twice, and then the 2 on the A, and then open on the A. So that measure is. Then open on the G twice, 3 on the A again. You could use your pinky because it was already there. You can also use your ring finger. It doesn't matter too much right now. 2 on the A, and then open on the A, and then open on the E, and open on the E again. So that last measure is. And the whole grouping of 4 here should sound something like this with the pickup bar. Pretty neat, right? Now you might be confused. You might have been trying to do that with the thumb and felt like it was just too much to go with. I'm going to show you a little bit of a technique right now that I like to utilize when I'm playing this. I'm going to super zoom in here. This is called alternate picking. So what I'm going to do here is, instead of like playing all this with my thumb, I'm going to use some finger style. I'm mostly going to use my index and middle fingers here with the thumb, and I'm going to make sure that when I'm playing a note, I try to alternate which fingers I use each time. To play the beginning, I'm using that middle and thumb, which works great. And I can use the middle finger on the A string there, and then the thumb on the E string, and I can use that middle finger on the E string again, right? Thumb on the G, middle on the E. That works out really well. The next measure, right there, when I play that 2 on the A, and then I play open on the A, I can just use my middle finger again, or I can alternate to my index. The point of alternate picking is to always use a finger that you didn't just use, meaning I'm going to try to never double up on a finger to the best of my ability. Sometimes it will happen. It will happen at the end of this sequence. But when we work on this, that's a good way to start practicing to get comfortable with alternate picking as you go through. So that's just something to keep in mind as you're looking to get more speed. Alternating between the middle and index can work really well. You can also alternate between the middle and the thumb, or the thumb and the index, whatever works best as you're working it through. But if you watch me play this, there will be a couple little doubling up, but you'll see that overall the fingers are alternating. It looks like this. Pretty cool, right? Bring the camera back out here. Let's go ahead and take a look at the next 4 measures, which is almost exactly the same as the previous 4 measures, except for the very last note, which is kind of neat. So we're going to start with that same 3 on the E, same open with the 2, same thing, and it goes to the same thing here on the next measure. Only the very last note, instead of playing open on the E again, we play 0 on the C. Pretty neat, right? It's exactly the same. So these 4 measures should sound something like this. Now we go into the next 4 measures, which are the final 4 measures of this melody. This is a little tricky here. We're going to go to our D note, the 2nd fret on the C string, and then we're going to need some 16th notes here. So what I like to do is play this with my thumb, and then I like to use my middle finger and my thumb alternating back and forth to create a faster sound, because I need to play this note 6 consecutive times. And the first one is a little bit slower, but the next 2 are much quicker. So it sounds like this. So what I do there is I use the thumb, and then middle, and then thumb, and then middle, and then thumb, and that creates an opportunity to play it faster. That's that alternate picking technique. I also could use my middle and index fingers. That's another way to do it, or your thumb and index, whatever's comfortable. But I'm playing it the 5 times here, just like that. And so that you can hear it, here's that whole ending sequence, starting with that part that we just worked on. Pretty neat, right? So after you play that 2 5 times, we're then going to play open on the E string twice, and then we're going to play that 2 again on the C string, open on the E, 1 on the E with our index coming on, and open on the G. Going into the next bar here, we're going to play open on the A string, open on the G, then open on the A, 2 on the A. I like to add my ring finger here, and 3 on the A with that pinky, then open on the A, and then that last measure is open on the G, open on the E, 2 on the C twice, and then open on the C. Pretty neat, right? So this whole end sequence looks and sounds something like this. This is an awesome thing to play because, again, we're not going above the first 3 frets of the ukulele, and this alternate picking technique allows us to play melody notes much faster than we typically do. Bring the camera back up. This makes for a really good exercise for a more beginner player who's looking to add some speed to their playing, and for a more advanced player who maybe is looking to get some more opportunities for good dexterity with their finger picking, right? But let's go ahead and play this all together. So at the end of this video now, we're going to have this jam. We're going to do a backing track where we just play along with this. So I'm going to be doing both parts here. I'm going to be playing the chords and the melody so that you can hear it. And we're going to play it 3 times all the way through here for the end of this video. You can feel free to try doing the strumming or do the picking, or just follow along and try to keep up and see where we're at within the tune. But whatever you do, just make sure you try to follow, and it's going to sound and look something like this. And there you have it. Bringing the camera back up to me. That is Whiskey in the Jar. That's making use of a strum pattern alongside the chords and a melody sequence that you can play so that you can jam on it. This is a lot of fun to play with somebody else. It's also fun to play with the backing track. But if you want to take it to the next level, there is a next step here, and that's making what's called a chord melody arrangement of this. Now, the chord melody arrangement of this I worked out is really fun to play. It looks and sounds something like this. I'm going to kind of play it for you and show you what the tabs look like on screen. It should be something like this. neat, right? Bring the camera back up. That video, full tutorial, as well as a play along with that, is available over at my Patreon page, as well as the tabs to that and the tabs to this entire lesson. And so check that out if you'd like to get more information with this and continue jamming with Whiskey in the Jar. And to all my patrons, thank you so much for your support. This lesson was voted on by all of my patrons. Every month we do a different vote based on suggestions of patrons, and this one was the winner. It was a lot of fun to work out. So I hope to see you around there. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments below, and I'll look forward to seeing you next time on the next video here. Thanks so much. Take it easy.